Hey, I'm just going to do a quick one in English because I've been rambling for like 15 minutes on the French version, but I'm going to try to make it shorter for the people, the English people that would actually come across this. So this is a video that will be more about not really the practical technical aspect of jewelry making, but rather the more business aspect of jewelry making, because I've just came to realize that there is really something crippling a lot of creators out there and people that start their businesses. I must admit that I find that it's different across, I think the mentality in France is very different from what it could be abroad, especially I was thinking about the United States. We don't really have the same state of mind and the same outlook on business, money in the States as we do in France. In France, actually, money is a bit taboo. To be quite frank, you would never dare to ask somebody that you don't know, and even somebody that you know, how much they earn. This is very impolite. And I don't know if it's the same in Europe though, but I know that in France it's really something, people have a problem with money, seriously. Like, not all of them, but a big majority of them. They admire self-made women and men that, you know, started to make building empires out of nothing, but at the same time they lose them when they reach a certain point. Like, after a certain point of being rich, then people start to despise you. The irony of life. And so I guess it's also a question of background and how you were raised in your culture also, but not only the country you were in, but the family kind of culture, you know, about money. And there's something that is quite recurrent and that I find is really detrimental to any creator out there, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you want to launch your own jewelry line, for instance. It's this idea that you will never be able to afford that. For instance, when I'm in shops or even when I hear that, I'm like, oh my god. And I can't blame those people for saying this, because I was also in those shoes. I was also saying it at some point. It's like, why even bother? Like, I will never be able to afford that. I will never be able to get that. When you say this, as soon as you freaking say it, it's like you're closing a door. And so at some point you're closing so many doors that all the opportunities that could just come up to you, you just boom, you know, you just push them away. And it's just like, you know, baseball balls, and you're just like, ding, no, this I will never get, ding, this I will never be able to get, ding, and at the end what's left, you know, nothing. So it's really something that I find really a pity, because there's so much that could be done when you have the right mindset, and I really think that is the point of the video, the mindset. And for instance, if you want to create your own jewelry line, I feel that creativity more globally is just like a garden. It's your inner garden, and you plant seeds and you need to water them, which can be translated in actions by being perseverant and coherent, and really to be concise in how you do things, to be able to practice and get there and make your business flourish. And you have the possibility to put fertilizers or pesticides. And I see fertilizers as the good kind of loving thoughts and this kind of faith in yourself. And this idea of knowing that sky is the limit, and that if you had the right mindset, and if you were only in a kind of letting go and flow with life, and coherent and with integrity with yourself, working from a place of authenticity and integrity, you can get wherever you want. And on the other side, you have the pesticides that are the kind of judgments that you have towards yourself and that you also put on other people. And really, it's about what you want to put on the garden, pesticides or fertilizer to make plants grow, you know. And I really feel that it's something, especially for people that perhaps come from a more modest background. We tend to think that, well, I cannot really complain. Well, I know both sides. I have a part of the family that is, actually both were actually quite poor, but from really different backgrounds, so bourgeois and very kind of ghetto. So I really know the extremes. I know how, like, the both. But I think it's something that is more predominant for people that are quite from a really middle class to what's underneath middle class? Well, you know, kind of poor people. We tend to think that we cannot afford it. We don't have the right to go there. No, it's not for us. fuck this shit. Because what I would really advise you, especially if you're in jewelry making, I'm going to take this example that I said in the French version. I think it's important when you create to know what's trendy, to know what's, you know, fashionable, without having to do this exactly, but just knowing what's in, you know. And I go to really kind of cheap jewelry store that I would not buy, but just to see what they make, because usually the Chinese kind of bring on the market what is trendy at the moment. And like a month ago, I went across this really posh shop where you actually, you know, you have to ring a bell and shit to go inside. And I tried a really very nice, I saw a watch and I was like, oh, I want to see it, you know, I would like to try it. And what I would really recommend you is that go and really try to broaden your horizons. Like, go in very expensive shop, go in very kind of entry-level stuff, especially in jewelry. If you like fine jewelry and you want your brand to be kind of fine jewelry, see what they do, you know. I observe what kind of class do they use, how do they set, is it casted or handmade, you know. So even if you have artisan jewelers like boutique and stuff, go, be really curious, try things, and don't think that because it's fancy they will treat you like shit. Their job is to treat everybody the same, you know. It's just to like welcome the client. So, and you don't have to buy anything, but try to see what it's like to go in a world that you thought you didn't have the right to access. Try and dive and just see it, you know, and see how it goes, and try to absorb the kind of energy and try to see what would work for you. And the other thing I wanted to say, yeah, I will finish on this because I did the opposite than I did with the French, but I think it's an important subject to highlight too, because it's in the same vein. I think on the tree of ego there are like roots and branches, and from one branch that is called perfectionism, you have a little other branch that is, I will start making things and practicing and start making jewelry when I'll have the perfect tools, the perfect setup, when I will have read the perfect, like all the books and blah 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 blah, and taken all the lessons. That's the thing, that's only by practicing that you will improve your skills. So really, quite frankly, if you think that you need to wait for things to be perfectly, like the stars to be perfectly aligned, you will be waiting for a long time. So at some point you have to really dive in and start doing things. And of course it helps to get good quality material, but it's not the tools that will make you a good jeweler. It's the jeweler that knows how to use the tools that will make good pieces of jewelry. Good pieces of jewelry, yeah. So really, I can only advise you to practice. Fuck perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. That's not the point of life. And it's only by making things and practicing and being consistent that you will get perhaps to the level you want. And the last point is about pricing the jewelry, because if you underprice, it means that you undervalue. If you overprice, it means that you overvalue. In French we say plus-value. I have no idea how you say that in English. But basically it's about, if you put underprice, it means that you undermine your work, and you will also do a disservice to all the other creators out there doing jewelry like you, because it will be too low. So you have to know and feel what the right price is, but also know that sky is the limit. Like, I've really changed my mind over the last couple of years, and I realized that really the prices is just a point of view, it's just a perspective. It's because people, you have clients for all ranges of jewelry and all ranges of prices. So it really boils down to what is your brand like, what is the image of the brand, and what kind of people are you targeting as clients. But really, for the prices, when it comes to prices, sky is the limit. So don't underprice, trust yourself, actually value your work. Even if you're not a kind of 10-year experienced jeweler, it doesn't mean that you don't have the skills and that you're not capable to come up with really good designs and really good ideas that would be worth a certain price if you dared to try it. So that was it for me. I hope that was out of service, and I'll see you around. Bye!